had a great start so far. I've heard a lot of great things from students in the hallways, teachers during classes, after school. I've made it around to the teachers and talked with them, and they've had a lot of great things to say so far to start off this year. So just wanted to say welcome back, and we'll start with this short little clip.
Bueller, Bueller, Bueller.
Was that short enough? Okay, so. And that concludes the assembly. No, I'm just joking. So, how many people have seen that? Ferris Bueller, Day Off. All right, so maybe like a quarter. Okay, so probably a really good classic little movie that maybe if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a little before your time, but it's a good one. So the whole premise is he takes a day off of school. Good news, you guys didn't. You guys are all here. So some took the first day off, but they're here today, so that's good. All right, so now let's get into the important stuff that we have here. All right, so we have discipline. So these are kind of like the steps that we'll go through for discipline. As you will see, there's some changes within this. So there's a teacher conference, and then the next step would be the PSR. So the teachers are going to try to handle as much of the issues that are happening within the classroom. Those that they can't handle, things that are a little out of hand, causing major disruptions to the classroom, making it to where the other students in the classroom cannot learn to the best of their ability. They're going to refer you guys to the PSR room. So when they say to go to the PSR room, that means that you're going to be sent to room 407. Room 407 is the old yearbook room. You guys will go down there. And when you go into that room, obviously you were a distraction in the other classroom. The expectation is that you go into that classroom in a calm manner. You shouldn't go in there all upset. The person that's in that room didn't do anything to you to make you upset, right? So you should enter into that room with a new attitude. Because the idea behind the room is for you to sit down and do some reflection. Take a minute, think about what happened, think what made you make the decisions that you were doing. And once you reflect on that, you'll probably see that there's probably something you could have did just a little different. And if you would have made that little difference, you probably wouldn't have been in that situation. And then when you're reflecting, the next step is to think, how do I make this better? How do I not do this again? And that's the key. Everybody makes a mistake. Everybody makes poor decisions. It happens. It happens to all of us. The key is that you learn from it and you move forward, and you don't make the same mistake. So that's what we're hoping and planning and trying to get done with this model, is to correct the behavior, not just discipline. So the only way to do that is for you guys to reflect, I think, and kind of go through that process and really think about how to make it better. So that's that step there. And then there's also a call home that you will make to call your parents and let your parents know what you did today that caused you to get to that point. So you'll make that call. You'll talk with your parents. You'll say, this is what I did. This is what happened. This is what I'm going to do to make it better. So then that way they know what's going on. And then maybe they can give you some assistance as well. Because that's what parents are there for. We're there to help. Okay? The next new piece, the Friday after school detention. So, if for some reason you decide that you're assigned to Pride, teacher says you need to go to Pride, and you don't go. The next step would be to double the pride. If you don't go at that point, then it becomes a Friday after school detention. So that would start at 1:45 and go until 3:15. You'll also then need to call your parents and let them know that that's where you're at, so they need to come pick you up. There won't be busing to get you home, so you'll need to provide your own transportation. So for those of you that drive, that wouldn't be an issue. Unfortunately, this is a huge inconvenience for your parents. So I know a lot of you are sitting here thinking, that's not going to work because my parents aren't going to be able to come pick me up. That's not an option. There will need to be a way for you to get home if you end up getting in Friday detention. Okay? So, if you're one of those people that know for a fact there's no possible way, it's impossible, then you should not put yourself in a situation where you're going to end up in Friday detention. Because that's going to put a huge burden on your parents to try to figure out a way to get you home. Whether that means they got to take a day off of work, take a half day, be respectful to your parents and try not to get to that point. Okay. And then we also have out-of-school suspension. So that's our options this year for discipline. Any questions or anything about this? Okay, so tardies. So the big thing, we need you guys to be in classes on time for two reasons. One, you have to be there on time because there's education happening at the start of class. Your teachers are already working on stuff. You're walking in, you have an assignment. You're walking in, you're having a part of the lecture, getting some directions. You're missing that piece. And once you're missing that piece, how do you ever get caught back up? You're not going to make up the time. And number two, at some point you will have a job, if you don't already. And you can't show up late. So that's what we're trying to help you guys with right now, is to get into the habit of being on time to places. The best thing to be on time is to be early. I had a football coach, he would always say, to be on time is to be 5 minutes early. Then you're on time. If you're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock and you show up at 8 o'clock, you're late. Because you're not prepared. Same thing goes for the classroom. If you're showing up as the bell's ringing, you're running into the classroom, you're not really prepared. You're not ready to start learning at that point. The halls aren't that big. You can definitely make it to class on time. We understand, there's times where you might be a little late. Things come up, things happen. We understand that. So that's why you have the flexibility. So don't use the 3 tardies as a way to count and go, I only have 2, I can miss 1 more, and then I'm going to be correct. You shouldn't have to keep count. You should just always expect to be on time. So lunch pride, and then you'll also call your parents and let them know that you were tardy 3 times. Because after 5 tardies, you get 2 lunch prides and a conference with me, and we make a phone call, and we talk to your parents, and we create a plan of how to get you to classes on time. And I don't really want to do that, but I will, because it's important for you to be in class. And then after 7 tardies, we just move to Friday detention. So, any questions on the tardies? All right, then we have some absences. 5 absences. This is a call home to parents. That'll be an automated call that's going to go out, and it'll let your parents know that you've been absent 5 times. Check the synergy. Make sure that you're accounted for. Then we have 8 absences. There's a letter that's sent home, and then a referral to the PST, the problem-solving team. There's a team here on campus of teachers, myself, counselors. So we're there to try to figure out what the issue is, why students are absent, because it's important to be here. 12 absences, you get the second letter sent home, and then there's a meeting with parents. So it's no longer the phone calls, it's a meeting. And within that meeting, you have the principal, truancy officer, school success worker, and a court representative. So court representative, we're looking at a probation officer that normally comes. That's normally how it works. And they represent the court system. So after that point, the following step is truancy court, which would then place you on probation and cause a lot of stuff through the court system. I don't want to see anybody in that situation. Attendance is super important. Making up classwork when you have 7 classes is really hard to do. And being behind is not the best place, because then that leads to the discipline. So try to make it to school every day. We understand you get sick, and we don't want you to get everybody else sick, so if you're truly sick, then you can stay home. Make sure a parent gives a phone call. We know that you're not going to be here. Teachers can prep for that for the next day, so that way they have some work for you to make sure you get caught up, and then the teachers can help you. So, questions? 5 absences are excused or unexcused. All absences are counted in that. Any other questions? All right, so probably my least favorite topic, but probably the most important when it comes to education, coming to school, is bullying. This is not something that's taken lightly by the state. It's not something that's taken lightly here at Oconee. So start off with a couple questions, seeing I'm just up here just talking. So I'll let you guys raise your hand and let me know. Show of hands, how many would like to see all wars end? All wars, civil wars, world wars, all those things. Okay, so a good portion doesn't want to get rid of that. How many would like world peace? Have a peaceful place, no terrorism, no gun violence, nothing like that? Okay, so majority. That all starts here. We can't get to that point without being able to do that here in this school. Bullying will lead to bad things in the future. There's no reason for it. If we can't get along with the people here at the school, how do we get along with everybody who has differences that we don't agree with? Sure, there's some here that have a little bit of different views on things, but for the most part, we're all pretty much the same. And I think most of you can agree with that. So, it all starts here. You guys are the ones who lead to world peace. You guys have to start that. You guys be the positive role models for other people. When you see bad things happening, you step in, you intervene, you say, no, this isn't right, you have to stop. That takes a strong person. And the people here in this room are strong people. And I know you're capable of doing stuff like that. So, this next bullet, okay, so personal story time. It's a good time. So here's the story. All right, so most of you know, or you should know, if you were here last year, I have the same skin disorder as Michael Jackson, right? So, you can see on my hands, 2 different colors. You know, it's tan and then white, okay? So, when I was in school, a group of people would think it was funny to call me Michael, because Michael Jackson has the same skin disorder. So, to teachers, to other people, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. It didn't seem like it was bullying, because it's just a name. And it's not a mean name, you know. There's people here that are named Michael. So, it doesn't seem like a bad thing. But to me, and to the kids who were calling me that, they knew what it meant. And it wasn't something that was funny to me and would be considered bullying. So I just wanted to share that with you guys so you know what bullying could look like. It could be something as minor as a nickname. If the person doesn't like the nickname, it's not a nickname. It's bullying. It's that simple. You guys just need to be nice to each other. If you're nice to each other, great things happen. Opportunities happen for you, educationally, job-wise. Because then when an employer calls and they ask me, about a student, I can say nothing but positive things. Great person, works great with other students, definitely a model student. Those are the things that I like to say about students. I don't like to then follow that up, but they've also had these discipline problems. This might be something you need to look out for. So with that being said, So we can't change the past. The past has already happened. But what we can do is we can change what we do right now. And that will definitely change what happens in the future. Being positive, working hard, will lead to opportunities that you may never thought were even possible. So that's the goal, or that was my kind of theme for this whole thing. As long as you're positive, working hard, you can truly do just about anything. Okay, so the last part and the end of this presentation is schedule changes. So I've had some people come to me and say, I need to change my schedule. This is too hard. This is difficult. I would like an easier class. That's the kind of culture that I want to change here. You should be saying, I want to take that harder class. I want to take dual enrollment. I want to take that AP course. I want to go to CTE and get that experience and get that certification. I want to have that experience because that's what I want to do in life. Those are the important things. What you do today, what you do in high school now, will prepare you for your future. So trying to find an easy way to get through high school is setting you up for failure in the future. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what our counselors are here for, and that's not what the teachers are here for. That's not what this staff is here for. We're here to try to mold you into the best student you can possibly be. So if you come to us and you say, this is too hard, you should be saying thank you to your teacher as well. Thank you for making this hard. Thank you for making this difficult. So if you need to make a schedule change, and a legitimate schedule change, that needs to be put in before 3 o'clock tomorrow. At that point, it's going to be closed. We'll make all schedule changes over the weekend. When you come back on Tuesday, all schedules will be finalized, so then that way teachers can continue teaching and not have to try to catch you up for switching classes after that point. Okay, so if there's some of you here that made a schedule change because it was too hard, or you thought it was something that you couldn't do, or it's something that you didn't want to do, but would make you better, go ahead and put in another schedule request and say cancel previous request. And I'll start at the bottom and work my way up, and then I'll cancel those out. Because we want you guys in the best situation possible. Thank you guys for being such a great audience, being so quiet. I appreciate it. Thank you. You guys can head back to your fourth period class.